All right, let's talk about something we all deal with those big, messy problems that just feel impossible. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful way of thinking that helps you cut right through all that noise, find some real insights, and come up with solutions that actually work. So let's dive in and figure out how to untangle pretty much any challenge that comes your way.
You know that feeling, right? You're staring down a project, maybe a personal goal, or just a really tough decision, and it feels, well, completely unsolvable. It's just this giant, tangled knot of details, and you have absolutely no idea where to even start.
I mean, who hasn't? That feeling of being totally and completely stuck is pretty universal. But what if that feeling isn't a sign to just give up? What if it's actually a signal that it's time to upgrade your mental toolkit? Well, the good news is there is. There's a structured, systematic way to approach the chaos and turn it into a series of clear, manageable steps. It's really a method for training your mind to see the path forward, even when it looks totally blocked. This whole method is called computational thinking. Now hold on, don't let the name scare you. You do not need to know how to code, I promise. This isn't about becoming some tech guru. It's about borrowing the logical, super efficient way a computer processes information to level up our own problem-solving skills. So, at its heart, what is it? Computational thinking is just the process of taking a huge problem and smashing it down into steps so simple, so logical, that there's just no room for confusion. The goal here is ultimate clarity. And the benefits? They're massive. Research has shown this stuff actually makes you a better planner and problem solver. It gives you a reliable system you can use for anything, from launching a new business to just organizing your week. It is a truly universal skill. Okay, so how do you actually do it? Well, it all boils down to a 4-step mental toolkit. Think of these as 4 different lenses you can use to look at any problem and suddenly see it with incredible new clarity. You know, Einstein really nailed the spirit of what we're doing here. This isn't about memorizing a bunch of facts. It's about fundamentally training our minds to think better. And that training starts with these 4 steps. So here they are: decomposition, pattern recognition, abstraction, and algorithm design. I know they might sound a little technical, like a mouthful, but as we break them down with a super simple example, you're going to see just how intuitive they really are. First up is decomposition. This is the essential first move. It's the simple act of taking a massive, intimidating problem and just chopping it up into smaller, bite-sized pieces. That way, you can actually tackle them one by one instead of staring at the whole giant mess. For example, think about the huge task of plan a holiday. That sounds like a lot, but if you decompose it, it becomes a list of smaller tasks. Choose where you go, book the flights, find a hotel, pack your bags. All of a sudden, it feels totally doable, right? Next up is pattern recognition. So once your problem is broken down into all those little pieces, you start looking for similarities. Where have you seen this kind of mini problem before? Which parts are just repeating themselves? In our holiday example, you'll start to notice that the process for booking a flight, you search for options, you compare the prices, you pay, that's a pattern. And it's almost the exact same pattern you'll use for booking your hotel or renting a car. Recognizing that saves a ton of mental energy. Step 3 is abstraction. And honestly, this one is a superpower. It's all about learning what to ignore. You intentionally filter out the details that just don't matter right now, so you can focus all your energy on what's absolutely essential to solve the problem. So when you're making your holiday budget, you're going to focus on the big ticket items, the flights, the hotel, major activities. You abstract away, or you just ignore the tiny details, like the cost of a coffee at the airport. This keeps you focused on what's really going to make or break your budget. And the final step, algorithm design, is where it all comes together. This is the payoff. This is where you create your clear, actionable, step-by-step plan based on all the work you did in the first 3 steps. For our holiday, the itinerary, that's the algorithm. It's the simple step-by-step plan that turns the huge, complex problem of planning a trip into an actual successful reality. Now, what's really cool is that this toolkit isn't just for practical planning. It's also an incredibly powerful defense against our own mental biases. You know, we all have these common thinking errors that lead us astray, and as you're about to see, this logical approach is kind of the perfect antidote. Take catastrophizing. That's the tendency to spiral out and imagine the absolute worst-case scenario for everything. Well, the simple act of decomposition is the perfect cure. When you break a scary problem down into its little pieces, you're forced to look at each part realistically. And that almost always shows you that the most likely outcome is way less dramatic than the catastrophe you were picturing in your head.
So this isn't just for planning holidays or fighting off those common mind traps. This exact same structured thinking is the foundation for really complex fields like data analysis, where professionals have to find real meaning in a messy world of information.
Just think about it. When a data analyst uses descriptive statistics to summarize millions of data points into, say, a single average, they're just using decomposition on a massive scale. And when they create charts and graphs to find trends, that's just a high-tech version of pattern recognition. It just goes to show you that this mental toolkit scales from planning your life to making sense of the entire world.
So the next time you're facing one of those tangled, overwhelming, messy problems, you don't have to get stuck. You now have a 4-step toolkit to find clarity and build a path forward. The only real question left is, what complex problem are you going to decompose first?